My name's Jake, and whatever confusion I had about my place in my family vanished the moment I stumbled across their will. It wasn't some dramatic family meeting or heartfelt confession. Nah, it happened by complete accident. Total blind luck. A few months back, I was at my parents' place, the same place I'd been helping them keep afloat financially for the last 5 years. I pitched in for the mortgage, bought their groceries from time to time, fixed broken things around the house. Basically, I was the reason the place hadn't fallen apart. Meanwhile, my brother Eric? He did jack. And I'm not exaggerating, he literally did nothing. No job. No chores. No sense of responsibility. Just lounged around like the world owed him something. And apparently, my parents agreed, because they kept serving it up to him on a silver platter. That day, I was helping Dad organize a bunch of paperwork. As usual, neither he nor Mom had a clue what they were doing. He asked me to scan some documents, legal stuff, financial records. Just the usual boring stack of papers. I wasn't expecting anything unusual. But then, right there in the middle of the pile, I noticed a folder. It was labeled Estate Plan and Last Will and Testament. Now, I'm not the snooping type. I usually keep to myself. But something about that folder. I don't know. Maybe it was the years of sacrifices I had made, or the fact that I felt like I was always the one picking up the slack. Either way, curiosity got the best of me. So I opened it, and what I read turned my stomach upside down. Every single asset, everything they owned, was going straight to Eric. The house, the savings, everything they'd ever worked for. All to him. My name? Barely even mentioned. Just a generic sentence about loving both sons equally. Yeah, right. Equally. That's why the lazy one gets it all, and the one who kept the lights on gets nothing but a line in the fine print. I felt like an idiot. There I was, breaking my back to make sure they were taken care of. Paying bills. Stocking their fridge. Fixing the leaky sink or mowing the lawn. And behind my back, they were setting up a future where I didn't even exist. Meanwhile, Eric, who couldn't be bothered to lift a finger, was getting the grand prize. He never helped. Never paid for anything. Just sat around, day after day, while I worked my butt off. But somehow, they believed he deserved everything. Maybe it was because he was the younger one. Or maybe they just always coddled him. Or maybe he knew exactly how to play them. Whatever the reason, the message was clear. They had made their choice. I sat there staring at that paper, hands trembling. It felt like a punch to the gut. How long had this been the plan? Had they always seen me as just some kind of backup plan? A walking bank account? Did they ever appreciate anything I did? I must have been sitting there for a while, because eventually my dad peeked his head back in. "Hey, Jake, what's taking so long?" he asked. I didn't hide the will. I held it up and looked him straight in the eyes. My voice came out low and steady. "So this is it? Everything goes to Eric? After all the years I've spent helping you too?" He looked stunned at first. Pale even. Then he let out this tired sigh, like I was just being dramatic. Like I was overreacting. "Jake, it's not what you think." "Oh, really?" I snapped. "Because it looks pretty damn clear from where I'm standing." I listed it out. How I paid their mortgage, bought their food, did repairs around the house. All while Eric did absolutely nothing. And still, they decided he was the one who deserved everything. Dad didn't even argue. He just muttered, "It's complicated." That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just 2 empty words, and that look on his face like he expected me to just drop it and keep being their cash machine. I should have walked out right then, but I needed to hear it from both of them. So I called for Mom. She walked in, saw the will in my hands, and immediately looked guilty. I thought, maybe now she'd give me something honest. But what she said made my blood boil. "Jake, sweetie, you do not need the inheritance," she said softly, like she was comforting a child. "You have a good job. You're doing well. But Eric, he struggles. We just want to make sure he's okay." And that was it. That was the moment something inside me broke. They were not denying it, not trying to sugarcoat it. They thought they were doing the right thing. After all these years of enabling Eric, they were ready to reward him for being useless and leave me with nothing. I took a long breath, clenched my jaw, and placed the will gently on the table. "All right," I said quietly. "At least now I know where I stand." Then I turned around, walked to the door, and left. Their voices followed me, calling my name, but I did not stop. I shut the door behind me. Hard. They made their decision. And now, I was going to make mine. After that day, I cut them off completely. No visits. No calls. Not even a text. For the first time in years, I let them fend for themselves. If something broke in the house, they could deal with it. If they ran out of milk or bread, they could figure out how to shop without me. And if the mortgage bill showed up, that was their problem now, not mine. It went quiet for about 2 weeks. I imagine they thought I was just sulking, waiting for them to say the right thing so I could come crawling back like I always had before. Maybe they figured I'd eventually calm down and pretend like nothing happened, like I should feel bad for even questioning them. But when days turned into weeks, and more importantly, when their bills started coming in and I was nowhere in sight, you could tell something shifted. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Dad. Simple. Cold. "The property taxes are due." No greeting. No checking in. Not even a fake apology to soften the blow. No. "Hey, how are you holding up?" No. "Sorry for how things turned out." Just a dry, straight-up financial notice like I was still their personal ATM. I stared at the screen and let out a dry chuckle. The audacity wasn't even surprising anymore. It was just pathetic. They really thought I would just keep funding their life like nothing happened. That I'd be dumb enough to keep sending money after finding out I meant nothing to them? I replied, calm as could be. "Sounds like something Eric can handle. I mean, it's his house now, right?" Not 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Mom. I let it ring out. Then came another text, this time from her. "Jake, please don't do this. We need to talk." Oh, now they wanted to talk. Now that the mortgage was overdue, and their golden boy was still doing nothing. I waited an hour before answering. Just long enough for them to stew. I wrote, "There's nothing left to say. You made your choice. Now deal with it." That should have been the end of it for the night. I felt clear-headed. No guilt. No second guessing. But of course, Eric had to insert himself. Later that evening, I saw his name pop up on my phone, and I just knew it would be something smug. Sure enough, he texted, "Bro, why are you acting like a drama queen? It's not that deep. Just help them out like always." I actually laughed out loud. Not that deep. Was he seriously pretending I had no right to be upset? Like I was just being sensitive? I responded, "Nah, man. You've got this. You're the favorite now, remember?" His next message? Predictable. "Oh my God. Are you really mad about the will? Grow up. It's just money." Right. Now it was just money. Funny how that only became true when it was his to keep. So I replied, "Then I guess you can use some of that just money to cover the mortgage." No response. Then Mom tried again. Another text, this time laced with guilt. "Jake, we're your parents. Families take care of each other. We did so much for you when you were growing up. And now you're just walking away from us? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, trying not to let the frustration boil over. Walking away? I had devoted years to helping them. Years of covering their bills, handling their errands, being their handyman, their accountant, their safety net. All while Eric sat on his butt doing nothing. And now that they were finally feeling the consequences, I was suddenly the villain. Not this time. I wrote back. You made it clear I wasn't really part of this family when you left me out of the will. Let Eric take care of you now. I could already picture my mom gasping like she'd been slapped. She always had a talent for twisting herself into the victim, even when she was dead wrong. A few minutes later, Dad chimed back in. We're not asking for much. Just a few months of help with the mortgage until we figure things out. Don't be selfish. That word, selfish, it lit a fire in me. After everything I had done, every dollar, every hour, every sacrifice, I was the selfish one now. I clenched my teeth and stared at the screen, my fingers shaking. Then I typed, "No, I'm done." And with that, I powered off my phone. They had made their decision. They could live with it. The quiet lasted until the next day. I knew they wouldn't stay silent forever. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. That morning, I woke up to a bank notification. My heart jumped a little. I figured it might be something serious. I unlocked my phone. There it was, a money request. From my mom. She had actually sent me a transfer request like I was a vending machine. No explanation. No warning. Just a bold request for $3,500, the exact amount they needed to cover the mortgage. No. Please. No. We're sorry. Just a number. Cold and shameless. They were not asking anymore. They were expecting. They really thought I would fold. The second they sent that request, they were probably already imagining the money hitting their account. But without even blinking, I declined it. No hesitation, no second thoughts. Not even 5 minutes passed before my phone lit up with another call. Of course, it was my mom. I let it ring until it stopped. Then the text came. Jake, I know you saw the transfer request. Why did you decline it? I didn't rush to respond. I took my time, finished what I was doing, and then typed out the truth. Because it is not my job anymore. Ask Eric. Another call. I declined that one too. And then yet another message. We are going to lose the house if you do not help us. Ah, so now it was an emergency. Now, after all those years of treating me like a background character, like a walking credit card, they were suddenly desperate. Now the panic was real. I stared at the screen for a moment, and then I typed. Maybe you should have thought about that before making it clear I did not matter to you. A few moments later, Dad jumped in with his own guilt trip. You are really going to let your own parents end up homeless? That one actually made me laugh. I let out a real, honest laugh right there in my apartment. Homeless? Please. They were not destitute. They were not about to sleep on a bench. They just did not want to touch their own savings, because they were so used to me covering the bills, they had no clue how to do it themselves. I ignored them for the rest of the day. But just when I thought I could breathe, Eric decided to open his mouth. Late that evening, a new text popped up. I saw his name and already knew it was going to be pure trash. Dude, just send them the money. You are turning this into a bigger deal than it is. My jaw tightened. The nerve of this entitled parasite telling me how I should feel. I typed back. Oh, you mean the money you are set to inherit? Why don't you use that and cover it yourself? He replied fast. Like instantly. You know, I do not have that kind of money right now. Oh, really? So when it is my bank account, it is open season. But when it is his turn, suddenly he is broke? I wrote, "Then figure it out, Eric. You are the one they chose." No response. Silence. That was the first peace I had felt in a long time. I went to bed with a strange sense of calm, like a huge weight had been lifted off my back, like I had finally broken free. But the next morning? Oh, they took it to a whole new level. I was at work, halfway through my shift, when I got a call from the front desk of my apartment building. "Hey, Jake. Your parents are here." My heart dropped. "Wait, what? What do you mean they're here?" There was a pause, then the front desk girl added awkwardly, "They say it's an emergency. They said you have not been answering their calls." Oh, my God. They really showed up at my apartment because I stopped paying their bills? I pinched the bridge of my nose and took a breath. Please do not let them up. I am not expecting visitors. Another pause. They are being kind of persistent. I cut her off. I do not care. Tell them to leave. I hung up. Not a minute later, another text. This one from Mom. "We are downstairs. Open the door." No explanation. No apology. No question. Just another command like they had a right to show up unannounced and demand my attention. I didn't reply. Then another message. "Jake, we are not leaving until you speak to us." I stood up from my desk, heart pounding, fists clenched. They wanted to show up? Fine. Let them. I was done running. I grabbed my keys, marched downstairs, and threw the front door open. And there they were. Mom, Dad, Eric, all standing together like they were about to stage some kind of intervention. Mom had her arms folded tight, wearing that classic, "I'm so disappointed in you" expression she always used when things did not go her way. Dad stood stiff, hands stuffed in his pockets, his face caught somewhere between annoyed and offended, like it was inconvenient for him to be there, like I was the one being unreasonable. And Eric? That little leech looked downright bored, like all of this was interrupting his afternoon nap, or whatever lazy nonsense he had going on. The second Mom saw me, she launched into it. "Jake, finally. We need to talk." I leaned on the doorframe, crossing my arms. Calm. Firm. "No. You need to leave." She blinked, like her brain could not process the words. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," I said, voice steady. "You do not get to show up at my place uninvited and demand money." "That is insane." Dad scoffed. Sharp. Loud. "So you are really going to let your parents lose their home over some petty grudge?" I laughed. I couldn't help it. A bitter, humorless laugh. "Oh, you mean the grudge where you used me for years and then cut me out of your will? That one?" Mom gasped, hand flying to her chest like I had cursed at her. "Jake, that is not fair. We did what we thought was best for the family." I tilted my head. "No. You did what was best for Eric. Just say it." Silence. Thick and heavy. Then, finally, Eric decided to chime in. "Look, man. I do not even want to be part of this. I didn't ask for anything." I snapped toward him, done holding back. "No. You just sat there and took it. You are 28 years old, Eric. Get a job." His face turned red. "Dude, what the hell?" I stepped closer. "You heard me. You want to inherit the house?" I said, locking eyes with Eric. "Then start acting like it's yours. Start paying the bills. Handle the adult stuff. Because I'm done being your backup plan." He dropped his gaze to the pavement like it was suddenly fascinating. Would not even look at me. Typical. Mom drew in a slow breath, like she was about to roll out another guilt-trip script. "Jake, he's your brother. I nodded, keeping my expression steady. Yep. And I've supported him more than either of you ever did. Dad's face tightened, that familiar storm cloud look. You're being selfish. That made me laugh. A real one this time. A bitter, from the gut kind of laugh. Oh, that's rich coming from you. I waved my hand toward both of them. You two sat down and decided Eric deserved everything, and I deserved nothing. And now you're shocked that I'm not bailing you out again? You made that decision. Not me. Mom's tone turned sharp, biting. We thought you'd handle this with more maturity. Mature? I repeated, raising an eyebrow. You mean stay quiet, swallow the betrayal, and keep sending you money every month? Yeah, that's what you really meant. Dad took a step closer, tried to puff himself up like I was still 12, and he could intimidate me. Jake, we raised you. We fed you. Put clothes on your back. We gave you everything. I looked him straight in the eye, and I gave it all back. 10 times over. 4 years. And how did you repay that? You cut me out. Mom's lips trembled like she was about to cry. We thought you'd understand. I shook my head slowly. Oh, I understand. I understand perfectly. I was never your son. I was your credit card. Another silence. Thick, uncomfortable. Nobody dared to argue with that. I turned to Eric, still standing there like a statue, hoping this would all blow over. And you? I said. What's your excuse? You had years to step up, to find a job, to pull your weight. But you never did, because you knew they'd take care of everything. And when they couldn't anymore, you figured I'd step in, right? Finally, Eric snapped. What do you want me to say, man? I didn't ask for any of this. I gave a slow, quiet nod. Exactly. You didn't ask. You just benefited. His mouth opened, maybe to argue, but nothing came out. He had nothing to say. And then, right on cue, Mom tried again. Jake, we're family. Family supports each other. I stared at her for a long second before replying. Exactly. So where was my support? She froze. She had no answer. No quick excuse. No fake tears. Nothing. I let out a deep breath, the kind that empties your lungs and takes the weight off your shoulders. We're done here. And with that, I turned around and walked back into my building. I did not yell. I did not slam the door. I just closed it. Quiet. Final. I had not even made it back to my couch when my phone went off. Text from Dad. Wow. After everything we did for you, you're really going to turn your back on us? I smirked and typed back. No. You turned your back on me. I'm just finally accepting it. Then I blocked all their numbers. I figured that was the end of it, at least for a while. But I was wrong. Way wrong. The very next day, the real circus began. It started with a few Facebook notifications. At first, I thought nothing of it. My parents barely knew how to use social media. But when they were feeling self-righteous, oh, they could figure it out fast. At first glance, the posts looked like sentimental family fluff, quotes about love, unity, loyalty. But underneath all that sugar, nothing but spite, thinly veiled jabs, passive-aggressive digs aimed squarely at me. Mom posted something like, I didn't raise my son to be selfish. Real family helps each other no matter what. People jumped in with sympathy. A bunch of her friends commented things like, so sorry you're going through this. Or, some kids just forget what really matters. One woman even said I was ungrateful and disrespectful. Then came Dad's post. Dramatic, full of emotional blackmail. Family should never abandon you when you need them the most. We gave everything to our children, and now we're alone in our golden years. I hope our son knows what he's doing. He even tagged me. Ended it with, I hope you're happy. But the worst of it? That came from Eric. Of course. He could not miss the chance to jump in and soak up some attention. He shared some carefully worded nonsense like, some people think family is about money, but it's about love and sacrifice. I'd do anything for my parents, even if others don't get that. Oh, and of course, he had to end with, I just wish some people understood what being a family really means. The hypocrisy was unbearable. That was my breaking point. I sat there, phone in hand, staring at the screen in disbelief. How did we get here? They had twisted the whole situation, flipped it around like I was the villain. The cold, heartless son who refused to support the parents who gave him everything. They erased the years I spent helping them. The groceries, the repairs, the mortgage payments, the sacrifices. Gone. Suddenly, I was the ungrateful one, the selfish one, the one who did not appreciate their love. And honestly, it broke something in me. It hit me hard, realizing they had actually convinced themselves they were the victims. Somehow, they flipped the script and were now painting me as the bad guy. And worse, they were telling everyone that I was the problem. I did not react right away. I sat with it for a while. Let the emotions settle before I did something I would regret. I gave myself a few hours to think. But the longer I thought about it, the more I realized something important. I could not let them twist the truth. Not this time. If they were going to drag my name through the dirt, I was going to speak up. I had kept quiet for too long. So I grabbed my phone, opened up Facebook, my personal one, the one I kept locked down to people I actually cared about, and I started writing. I was not going to stoop to their level. This was not about petty drama. I just wanted people to know the truth. Here is what I posted. I know I've been silent the last few days, but it's time I speak up. My parents and brother have been posting things online that simply are not true. They've made me out to be the selfish one, the ungrateful son who abandoned his family during a tough time. Let me be very clear. I have always been there for them. From the moment I was old enough to earn a paycheck, I helped. I paid bills. I bought groceries. I helped with house repairs, vacations, and taxes. I stepped up in every way I could. But there comes a point when giving turns into being used. For years, I watched my parents favor Eric. He got the attention, the free pass, the excuses, the help. And most recently, he got everything in their will. Me? Nothing. Not even a second thought. I am not angry about money. I am angry about what that decision said. It told me exactly where I stood in this family. To those reading this and thinking, that is just how families work, let me say this. No, it is not. Families should be built on respect, on mutual support. Not one person constantly giving while the others take. So when I discovered I had been written out of the will, I realized something I had ignored for too long. This relationship has always been one-sided. I am not a backup plan. I am not a bank. I am a person, and I deserve to be treated like I matter, not just when someone needs money. As for Eric, he is a 28-year-old man who has never held a job. My parents have enabled him his entire life, so it is no surprise they would hand everything over to him. But enough is enough. It is time for him to grow up. And it is time for me to stop cleaning up the mess. To everyone following this situation, there are two sides to every story. This is mine. This is not me abandoning my family. This is me finally choosing myself. To my parents, I truly wish you well. But I am done being your doormat. I sat there for a moment after posting it, heart racing. But also, I felt lighter. Like I had just pulled the weight of years off my chest. For the first time, I was not letting guilt or fear of what people would say silence me. I was honest. I told the truth, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And the response? It was immediate. People I had not heard from in years started commenting and messaging me privately. Some of my cousins, a couple of my parents' friends, even distant relatives. They thanked me for speaking up. They told me they were sorry I had gone through all that they saw the pattern now. It felt good, not in a vindictive way, but in a freeing one. Like I was finally being seen for who I really was. But it did not take long before the backlash rolled in. Eric, of course, was the first to react. He messaged me directly. "You are a traitor. You really had to put our whole life on blast like that? You have no respect for family." Then Dad called me. Furious. His voice was booming through the phone. "You've ruined everything, Jake. You'll regret this. You'll regret turning your back on your own family." But here is the thing. I did not regret it. Not for a second. I let them say what they wanted. Then I blocked them all. One by one. No more access. No more drama. I was done. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. Free from the constant pressure to be the fixer, the responsible one, the wallet. Free from their guilt trips. Free from their manipulation. As the days went by, I started to feel the weight melt off me, bit by bit. The anxiety, the resentment, the heartbreak. All of it started to fade. I was not the villain they made me out to be. I was the one who finally said, "Enough." And no, I do not feel bad for walking away. I finally understood something I had ignored for too long. I deserve better. And I still feel that way. Even now, with everything behind me, that truth has not changed. I deserve better. I always did. And moving forward, I am only letting people into my life who value me for me. Not for what I can hand over. Not for how much I can pay. But for who I am as a person. I am done chasing approval from people who never really saw me. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one where I come first. One where I stop carrying everyone else's weight and finally start living for myself. And I will. I already am. Thanks for reading. If you have thoughts or similar experiences, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you.